Hello, this is Mr. Cadella, and today I'm going to help you just get started shading here. I'm going to be using this bottle. I've already blocked it in here real quick. Now, a lot of people would make the mistake and go, okay, the bottle's clear, then that must be white. No, if you actually look at the values and using a 10-point value scale, you can see lots of different values in here. For example, there's this shape right here that kind of follows the edge. Not quite the edge, but close to the edge of this bottle. And this would be about a 7 on the value scale. This would be like a 5 or 6, that little thin piece right there. Then you come over and see this highlight. Of course, that would be 1 on a value scale. And some people look over here and they would say that's a 1 too, but that's actually like a 2 or 3 value right there. So I'm just going to show you. I'm going to come in and I see how this kind of curves around here. So I'm just going to draw this shape. And of course, if I change the angle of the bottle or whatever, all these shapes and values sometimes change. So I'm going to try to hold it still here. I'm going to sketch in this little shape right here. I'm not going to go all the way down, but you get the idea. And then, of course, you just start evenly shade this area. You just evenly shade, taking your time. Notice I'm just using a pencil. I'm not using my finger or a blending stump. I'm going to shade this in. Now, that's not quite as dark as I should make it. Notice I start just a little bit lighter because I can always go back and I can build up and make it just a little bit darker as I go. And the value right next to it, I'll go ahead and shade as well. Notice it's a little bit lighter as well because that is more like a 5 value. And I can always go back, make this a little bit darker if I need to, just like that. So you see I've shaded those two sections right here, but this little thin edge and this part right here need shading too. This is going to be a 2 value. It's very lightly shaded. Notice how I'm holding my pencil. I'm holding it very lightly, barely putting any graphite on the paper, taking my time. I can come back over here and make this a little bit darker if I want to, but notice putting hardly any graphite right in this section and this section right here. Now, of course, there's a highlight right here. One of the big mistakes I see people do is this. They go, okay, there's a highlight here, and then they draw that highlight, but they use a really dark line to do that. You don't want to do that. Instead, I'm going to draw this little highlight right here, that little oval. I'm going to put that right down here. I'm going to lightly draw that. So you see the difference. This is incorrect. It's really dark because you don't actually see a dark outline around that highlight there, okay? But this is lightly drawn. So I'm going to go around. I'm going to start shading that because if you look closely at that highlight, there's no outline around it, but there is some 2, maybe even some 3 value around it. So I'm going to lightly shade this 2 to 3 value around it. And just by putting value around it, then it creates that highlight right there. And I got another little one right above it. But if I turn the bottle, of course, it changes. So your setup shouldn't be changing. It should be still on your table. Now I'll go through this entire setup just like this. And I'll show you in a finished example, one that has all the shading in it already. You see that I've already shaded this bottle. You see all those different values and all those different shades that were put in here. And basically what I did is I just lightly drew a shape, shaded it the correct amount, and then I just matched it up with what I saw in real life. And that's how you shade